Hello, everyone. This is Drew and JC here with another episode of The Watchers. We got a Horror Watchers episode tonight. I've been looking forward to this day for a while. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for everybody to listen to this conversation. We have a really awesome guest that we'll introduce, as always, after the intro. And tonight we're being joined by filmmaker James Balsamo. James, how are you doing tonight?
Awesome. Hey, everybody. James Balsamo here, CEO of AcidBath Productions. I love that double clawed Freddy, that AI.
Yeah. I had to really quickly throw a new intro together for the show a couple of days ago because we were talking to Sandy Johnson from Halloween, and I just wanted something quick and easy. So yeah, you guys, you're the first person to call me out on the AI.
I didn't even notice it. I
Love
usually
it.
call them out on everything else.
The AI Michael Myers and Jason look awesome, but I love AI doesn't understand. Freddy only has one claw. They're like, no, he's Wolverine. Give him two claw heads.
Yeah, well, Mortal Kombat also was guilty of that sin as well. When Freddy Krueger was playable in, I think it was Mortal Kombat 10, he had two claws.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know.
Yes. So,
It's clawful if you ask me.
oh, okay, he's gonna fit in perfect with us. JC in particular, he's a
Stealing my jokes already.
no pun intended kind of fella.
All puns always intended. Get my new book, Total Punishment, available at Barnes & Noble. 100 bad jokes to make new friends and lose your old ones.
Also $100, and that's why Barnes & Noble's failing.
I only shop at Barnes & Noble when they have Criterion sales. I don't know if that makes me the bad guy or not, but it's cheaper that way if you're going to buy Criterion 4Ks. I guess I'm the only one.
Yeah. Nope, I haven't been in a Barnes & Noble in probably 15 years.
No, twice a year when they put the Criterion selection on sale. It's a how to do for me. It's a pretty big thing, but enough about me and buying movies. Let's talk about the movies that we like to watch and the filmmakers who make them. Can you? I guess. Well, I'm kind of a dollar store Mark Maron, and so I just wanted to, let's start at the beginning. How did you get into filmmaking?
So I've been acting since I was 8, and I got tired of getting rejected from going on auditions. So I started taking out Lloyd Kaufman's trash, literally working as a slave for Troma. And Lloyd taught me every trick in the book. And after that, I made my first feature at 25, and I've got 287 film products to date. And I'm the CEO of not one, but two film companies, AcidBath Productions and Die-Star Pictures. And Die-Star Pictures is my new company, and we just put out a whole bunch of movies like Glitch Ditch and Slasher Fetish, starring Robert Mukes from Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. And those are out now in FYE and Walmart, so be sure to check those out.
That's really exciting news, actually, to hear. But as much as like I'm super ready to talk about that, but you brought Troma up, and that's kind of, I think for a lot of people of our generation, Troma was the introduction to the low budget and trash sleaze type filmmaking. So I'm very curious about your time at Troma. As a teenager, I had purchased Make Your Own Damn Movie. And that was kind of my Bible when I was a high school student thinking I was going to grow up to make movies someday. And so, yeah, can you elaborate a little more on your time with Troma and hanging out with Lloyd?
Sure. Well, first of all, you're never too old to make a movie, so don't say your dreams are dead yet. I say pick up a camera or cell phone and make your own damn movie. So actually, as an intern, I did some of the subtitles on Make Your Own Damn Movie. So the movie that you watched, I slaved over a computer, listening to what people said and typed it out for subtitles, which was a nightmare. So especially as a 19-year-old with a dream. It's like, I want to get into making movies. It's like, well, do this first.
You have to go hold a boom mic for the next 6 months, and then we'll talk.
I wish. I actually played the Toxic Avenger in 6 Troma DVD intros, and I did a book signing with Lloyd where Lloyd was signing a book that he had done at Barnes and Noble, actually. So
Oh,
I was the Toxic Avenger for that, and then we did a Poultrygeist party that I was Toxie for, and that's how I got Lloyd to do a cameo in my first movie. They said if you do this Barnes and Noble signing, Lloyd will do a cameo for you in your movie, and that's how I got him in my first film, Hack Job, out now. We just had our 10-year anniversary for that a few years ago, so that's also got the late Dave Brocky, aka Odorous Urungus from Guar, in it, and Lloyd Kaufman and Lynn Lowry and Debbie Rochon are in that too. So check out where it all started, Hack Job, thanks to Troma. And actually, Toxie and Sergeant Kabuki Man do have a little cameo in that movie Hack Job as well. We did a
Uh,
fake buddy cop comedy spoof called Troma PD Spew, and Toxie and Kabuki Man are cops, buddy cops, and we did like a whole little skit.
that's great. I loved what they did with Kabuki Man over the course of the character, especially when you go back and you watch that first movie, and it's kind of off the Troma path, so to speak. Like it doesn't quite fit that sense of humor that eventually he started to show up with in what was it, Citizen Toxie, when he was an alcoholic character and
Mhm.
was primarily used just kind of for laughs. But when it was jarring for me because I had seen those films first before I ended up getting a it was a VHS copy of Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD when the video store where I grew up went out of business, and so I saw that movie much later, and I was kind of taken aback by how tonally it was actually a lot different than the usual Troma fare.
Yeah, I really hope they finish the late Doug Sackman's Kabuki Man version. I love Doug. Doug was in a few of my movies, and just a real tragedy. So I hope somebody finishes it and it sees the light of day.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. That's just a couple of weeks ago. I feel like that
Yeah,
kind of
what
like
it
an
was. It was recent.
untimely passing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bummer. Um, but so while you're doing all of this stuff for Troma, it's kind of like a pay and experience kind of company, right? He used to joke that if you wanted to work for Troma, he would give you cheese sandwiches and let you sleep on set. I think was the quote from Make Your Own Damn Movie. So is that kind of an accurate portrayal of what it is to work there?
No, I never got a cheese sandwich.
uh,
But
that's
I interned for Troma when they were in New York City, and I was 19 and ecstatic. I was working at a comic book store, and somebody tried to buy a used copy of the Toxic Avenger Part 2, and then somebody at my job said, "Hey, they're hiring interns." And at 19, I was like, "That's it. This is my big break into the film business." And it was. I mean, like I said, Lloyd taught me every trick in the book. You know what I mean? I filmed with Debbie Rashan, and she was wearing a robe, and she was like, "Do you want me to take this robe off and do the scene naked?" And I was like, "No, no, this is a real movie. This isn't a porno." And Lloyd kind of hit me over the head and was like, "If you ever want to make it in this business, kid, you know what I mean? You got to get girls to take their clothes off and rubber monsters." And look at me now, 287 film products later. So thanks, Uncle Lloyd.
That's you are actually like your life is the dream that I had when I was in high school, man. Like I wanted, like I was like, okay, I'm gonna graduate and then I'm gonna just scooch on over and live on a Troma set and make movies for Troma. And I never did, which is a bummer. But what was your journey from Troma to Acid Bath, or what was what did you do in between?
So I started making this movie called The Mark. It was about a guy that got possessed to kill televangelists, and I didn't finish that and turn it into a feature until I was 25. So I started that at Troma when I was 19, and then I went to an actual film school. I went to Five Towns College in Dix Hills, and I started a Guar knockoff band called Mush, and we wore monster costumes. We were called Monsters Under Satan's Hands. It was like an acronym, excuse me. And we had a 12-foot robot badger fighting a hip hop robot that it would decapitate on stage. And these costumes were made out of Home Depot buckets that, our friends would stand on. And then we would make like these boffer swords. And Rich Lund did a lot of the props, who's actually Broadway's lead set builder. He works on all these projects on Broadway, like Book of Mormon. You know what I mean? So he went from this band that we were in building props for us, and now he's a major Broadway set designer and works on all these great things. So that was my passion. I loved Guar since I was a kid, and so I wanted to, have this band. So I went from working for Troma, making a movie, then I was in Mush, and then Mush started to take off, and then I started to do music more, and that's why I actually have two DVDs of all the bands that I was in, called James Balsamo Knows How to Rock and James Balsamo Knows How to Rock 2, both available at Best Buy and Walmart. And, so those were all my, for lack of better word, failed bands that didn't make it to the mainstream. And so when I got distribution, I decided to breathe life into these, dead projects and be a necromancer for music videos. But that's kind of what I did in between finishing my first film, which became Hack Job.
Is there, I got you on this, JC. Is there anywhere that we can obtain your music via CD?
I'm working on that. So I do have CD distribution, and it's something that's been in the works for a while, but you can check out the DVDs and you get the music video too. So you get the visual and the ear snack.
That's
Yeah,
go ahead, JC.
I was just gonna say I'm looking for records, cassettes.
Yeah,
it's always one of the fun byproducts of these conversations is when we get to learn of a new band or find some new music that's kind of I don't know, we're compiling it and giving everybody a taste when we hear it.
nice. What are you guys listening to now? I'm always looking for new bands. So
don't make me do this. I got to pull down the whole thing.
just give me one that you're listening to now. Like maybe I'll put them in my new movie.
Okay. All right. Here, this is it. You can't see it, of course. Okay, but it's called it's easy. The band's name is Zao. Zao.
Zao. Okay.
Yep. And they are. They've gone through quite a few changes in band members over the year. They've been around since like 91 or 2. They started off more like hardcore. Now they're kind of like a progressive metal band.
Okay.
So their content, their lyrical contents, has changed over the years too. So
Nice.
they're good. I don't know. I have like a lot of old like post-hardcore stuff from like the mid '90s too. Like "Cross My Heart" is on here. "Comeback Kid," stuff like that.
Sweet.
Black Flag. I'm a huge Black Flag fan.
Yeah, I'm
Pre Henry Rollins, Black Flag.
I'm kind of lame, and I've been stuck in my Kiss phase for the last few years. That started in '96, so I've been rebuying Kiss albums on eBay.
Very cool. I was
Yeah,
a production assistant on the Gene Simmons Family Jewel show.
awesome. How many, like the full series, or just episodes?
No, I
Season?
worked on the Halloween episode when they came to New York, and so I think we did 4 days, and I went with them when they did MTV, and we had dinner in Chinatown, and it was like, Paul and Gene and me and the camera crew, and I was the PA, you know what I mean? And they were like, "Don't talk to Gene," and I had these mummy cutoff gloves. They had mummy print on them, and this is after the producer goes, "Don't talk to Gene." I go, "Oh, okay." I'm 19. I'm PA, and Gene goes, "You come here. Did your mummy give you those?" You know what I mean? And then that was it. We had a nice hangout for 4 days. So Gene would tell bad jokes in between takes and stuff like that.
Oh, great! That's awesome. That's the Gene Simmons story that I wanted to hear. Like, I would have been very sad if you told me that he yelled at you and told you not to talk to him and to look away.
Yeah,
And
super nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See, my interpretation of it is that it's a very political atmosphere in Kiss. At least it was, and Gene basically had to adhere to what Paul wanted, and Paul was kind of the douche, and so Gene had to also be a douche for Paul. And now that you see him out with the Gene Simmons band, that he kind of has his own way of doing things. Obviously, he's still Gene Simmons, but the fact that he's such a cartoon character is one of the reasons why I still I love those guys.
Yeah.
He does.
Nah, I do, like right here. Just it's in my office that I just built. I have Double Platinum and Psycho Circus are the two newest additions to my CD collection.
Very
Uh,
cool.
but
Office.
yeah, it's a where my sliding glass door is in my house. I built a desk, and now I have a picture of two Sasquatches and Jim Norton on the wall. So now it's an office. But yeah, but hey, I could talk about Kiss all night, but I want to learn more about Acid Bath and some of your films. You said that you had, what was it, uh from Guar, was it Odorous that you said that you
Yep.
had? So you're in a Guar inspired band, and so is that how you start to have conversations with him, or do you reach out to him much later because you're making the movie, or was it a
So I
Troma thing?
started that band when I was in college. So I was 19 when I started that band, and we didn't shoot with him until I was 25, 24, 25. So yeah, I was just always a Guar fan, and then I reached out, and he came out from Virginia to Long Island, where I was living at the time, and he spent a whole day with us. It was great. We filmed a role with him in costume as Odorous, and he fought this 7-foot monster that we had built out of expanding foam and wood, and then he played a role as Dave Rocky as a human being also. So super fun.
That's awesome. That's another one of those like stories where everybody says don't meet your heroes, but that sounds like that worked out extremely pleasant for everybody involved.
Yeah, I was friends with Dave till the end. You know what I mean? So I filmed with him, and then we stayed in touch. I came out and I filmed. I did photos for them at their barbecue, and then I became a celebrity guest at their barbecue a few years later, and I still work with Guar. I just filmed with Hunter Jackson, Techno Destructo, and Slimenstra Hyman Danielle a few weeks ago for my new movie I Spill Your Guts 2 that I'm doing with Shannon Boyce, and so that's going to be a brutal gore fest with Guar playing politicians that get murdered.
Oh, sweet. So that's a sequel to the 2012 film.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah, I Spill Your Guts 2 has been in like a weird pre-production hell for 10 years. I really wanted to, do a bigger version of it, and so I was waiting and waiting, and then, Shannon and I were talking about doing a project together, and that was the one that it was. So, it's got a great cast. It's got Richard Band's first on-screen kill, composer for Reanimator and Puppet Master. You would think his brother Charles Band would have put him in a movie in all these years, but
yeah, yeah.
I'm the first one to kill him on screen.
Wow, that's an incredible statistic, actually.
I know, you would
That
think, right?
that is a fair point. Why is this dude not in some Full Moon movies?
Yeah.
So I mean, you seem like you you just go by, the beat of your own drum, and you just kind of do what you want. It seems like you have a ton of movies in production. Is that why this sequel has kind of taken so long and has been in what you just said, like the pre-production hell, so to speak? Or is that just something that you had to wait until you had time to properly, invest into making the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to do a bigger budget film, you know what I mean? I make a lot of low budget kind of stuff, and I Spill Your Guts to this date is still one of my more popular films. I mean, people still recognize me for that movie that I made in 2012 today. So I had filmed with Phil Tippett, stop animator for RoboCop and uh, Star Wars, and Phil and I were having a drink at a convention, and Phil's back is to this bar, and somebody walks by with their girlfriend, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's James Balsamo. He made I Spill Your Guts." You know what I mean? While I'm having a drink with Phil Tippett, the guy recognizes me for I Spill Your Guts. So you know what I mean? I know it's a fan favorite, and so I wanted it to be good and gory and have some cool celebrities in it, and so I took my sweet time to make it, and now it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good and gory, and Mitch Parks is the director of photography on it, so it looks beautiful. It's shot really nice, and it's got some cool kills in it for sure. Brett Wagner, who played Leatherface in the 2000 remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is in it, as well as Robert Mukes is also in that, and Josh from Evergreen Terrace is in that. So it's gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be one to look out for. Another thing that I find really alluring about the products that you're putting out is the art work that goes along with it. I feel like all of your covers look insane, but they all kind of have like this. I don't know if I'm generalizing too much, but there's almost like a just kind of a late '90s, early 2000s comic book quality about it. Is that kind of by design, or you just kind of is that just all accidental?
I work with Jeff Zorno, who's the comic book artist for Godzilla for IDW, and I've been working with Jeff since the beginning, since Hack Job. And Jeff doesn't do all of my covers, but he sure does a lot of them. So Jeff definitely has his own style, and I love it. And I reached out to Jeff because he used to make T-shirts for Fright Rags. I think he still does, but I loved those shirts so much. I had to know who the artist was, and I found Jeff at a convention. I went from Long Island to Boston, and I said, "Hey, I'm doing this movie. I'd love for you to do the cover." And he was like, "Okay." And I've been working with Jeff ever since. So
That's
like I said, you're never too old to make a movie or do what you
well,
want to do. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, show's about you, so I won't bore you with all the details. But I've made a couple of tiny things that it's a camcorder with some friends. We have one that I've been trying to pitch that we made from. We were in high school, and it was called Of Dyson Men, and it cost $6 to make. We bought a watermelon for a head smash scene, and
Nice.
I've been like trying to like maybe get like VHS Shitfest or someone to see if they would just throw it on a special feature or a compilation or something to no avail. But we're working on one right now.
I'll put it out. If you have
Oh,
some, I'll put it out. I have this collection called Mind Melters.
yeah, I
So
was gonna ask about that.
yeah, so 1 through 50 is out now, and I already edited 51 to 100. So those will be coming out over the next few months. And so what they are, they're shorts and music videos and all the short ends and celebrity promos. So if you have something, I'd be happy to throw it in there, and it'll be out in Walmart and Best Buy, and just happy to do it.
That is incredible. I didn't even that wasn't even a goal of talking to you. We'll chat more about that offline maybe. Judging by some of these covers, I have this second laptop open because I was watching Blood and Guts earlier, and so I was multitasking on show prep. Um, is it safe to assume that somewhere in you is a wrestling fan, or is some of this like wrestling correlation just totally by accident? Because it looks like for the cover of From Dusk Till Dawn, there's a character that looks eerily similar to Papa Shango from the '90s, and one of the mind melters. It looked like there was a whole bunch of wrestlers on one of the covers.
Yeah, so it's eerily similar because it is the real Papa Shango, Charles Wright, and he's wearing the actual Papa Shango makeup, killing vampires. So
How am I not more aware of the existence of this movie before talking to you, man? I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna. You have compilations, right? Where you have like uh all of the movies. Like you have like the first couple on a release that, and then you have like a couple other ones. Like, is that your whole catalog like that? Because I might be,
yeah,
purchasing
so
these.
Acid Bath Productions Volume 1 to 13, I believe, is out now. And so that's the way you could get them. Or I also did these compilations of double discs called Monster Matchup. And so it's my films double packed, so you can see how they stack up against each other.
Yeah, that's really cool. It was Mind Melters 10. It looked like it had like kind of like the Legion of Doom and the Undertaker, and looks like a kind of like a Macho Man on the cover. So
Yeah.
uh, we
Mm.
one of our other shows is a wrestling show. We've interviewed a couple of people. I temporarily was in the business. I trained, and then as I was starting to work, I was hit by a coal truck, and my neck was destroyed.
Oh,
Um, so I actually just last year when we started this podcast, I finally, after 9 years of having a bad neck, had neck surgery, and they reconstructed everything. Like the first 9 episodes or something, maybe even longer of the show, I'm in like this neck brace that I couldn't take off for 6 weeks.
oh, geez.
But
Even though he tried to hide it with like this zip up like
yeah,
jacket,
I
just
did
looks
everything in my.
ridiculous.
Put the bow tie on it. Like,
That
Where
would
were
have that
you
was
a year
too
ago, man?
obvious.
But yeah, I was embarrassed by it. I felt silly. We were interviewing people, and I just was like, "Oh, like." But so every show started with me reminding people as if they needed it that I just had neck surgery, so sorry I look like a goon. But yeah, we love pro wrestling. How did you manage to get the Godfather to be in the movie in full gimmick?
so Charles is in a few of my movies, and it's something we had talked about, and I was shocked that he had the rights to his own makeup and he could fight vampires as a voodoo, vampire slayer. And so he doesn't play actually Papa Shango. He plays a reference to Screamin' Jay Hawkins. he's Screaming Jay Pigeons
Yeah.
in the movie. And so he's like a voodoo vampire. And then I rented a real vulture. So he's got a vulture in the movie that like plucks out eyeballs so he can open another dimension to the afterlife to save his wife that got killed by vampires. And then he also has to fight lizard people. So not only does Charles Wright in full Papa Shango makeup kill vampires, but he also fights lizard men from another dimension. So if that's not enough for you to check out from Bung. Also, Hacksaw Jim Duggan's in the movie. So
Oh,
that's right.
That's
You
yeah,
should
that's
see the blank look on his face.
there it is again. That's incredible. That's all from working for a little bit at Troma, and you just right there at your disposal. So what? I'm really into this mind melters idea. What made you I don't know, conceptualize this? Like, what was the driving force? Because there's like 50 of them now. So,
Yeah.
like, tell me more about it.
Okay, so before I made my first feature hack job, I started out making these short films. And so I had made 30 short films and I had only put them on YouTube. You know what I mean? I never released them. And so I wanted a vehicle to release my short films. And so the first Mind Melters has like, my first 30 short films. And then people liked it. And so then I started shooting some short films, and then I had some music videos, and then it kind of just grew from there. And so then it started becoming behind the scenes and celebrity promos and like whatever I could grab, because I can't sell them fast enough, because that's honestly my best seller right now is Mind Melters. People just, I don't know, they like the variety, you know what I mean? And so I was like, why am I working so hard making these feature films? And I was like, oh, right, because I love it. And then I just started making more and more Mind Melters because they're easy, they sell, and they're fun. People like them. People are like, oh, this is great. And then they're like, oh, well, I watched, 1 and 7. I guess I have 50 more to watch. And I'm like, actually, you've got 100. So be on the lookout.
Yeah, it was really appealing to me when I was looking through the catalog, because I don't know, it just kind of has like that almost like there's just kind of like a almost the early days of punk rock fanzine kind of attitude towards it, or what the early days of CKY and Jackass and those just compilation skateboard videos. It kind of has like that same aura to it, of just like the random stuff we would find in the early days of YouTube.
It's so funny you mentioned compilation skateboard videos, because Acid Bath Productions has Acid Bath Productions Skate or Fry, and that's also coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. I wasn't going to say anything, but since you mentioned it.
there it is.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. We love to have plugs and just everybody to get their stuff out. So plug away when you have something. That's again, that's something that's just almost like a cool thing that has been lost in time, so to speak. Because so many people can just scroll through TikTok now and watch some skate video. That it's I don't know if it's just nostalgic because I'm now falling into middle age and here in my mid 30s. Like I just am reminiscing about finding these old skateboard tapes, or
Yeah.
like first time like I rented a skateboard video and saw a pair of boobs in them. Like I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. I have to go get the other ones from the grocery store that had them, of all places. But I don't know. It's just like, to me, it's like a wholesome, warm feeling. But I am also a physical media collector, and movies are important to me. Not only do I talk about them on the show all the time, I'm a huge collector. Boutiques, Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, all those guys. We
Acid
had Brett.
Productions.
Yeah, yeah. We had Brad Henderson recently on the show. He is working TerrorVision now, But yeah, I just love everything about, buying a disc still and popping a movie in. So just to even have a skateboard compilation available through a label is something that it just doesn't exist anymore. So that's actually super cool that you're doing it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm glad you said something because I thought the same thing. I also grew up on those, and I was like, "Oh, I'm friends with a lot of skateboarders. Why don't I just, put that out?" You know what I mean? And there's a lot of up and coming kids that'll have a vehicle to show off some of their tricks. You know what I mean? So I'm, for lack of a better word, I'm grateful I have the opportunity to present people with this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I could film a foot for 90 minutes and it's coming out in Walmart. So either way, I'm making movies.
um, One of the topics of conversation that we had with Brad the other day was Walmart and their um, partnership with these companies like yourself who are putting movies out, and they seem to still be, supportive of physical media. How did you broker that deal with them to get your stuff distributed there?
So I'm with a company called Allied Vaughn now. They put out Fox and Paramount and all these, unbelievable big budget labels. So it's amazing that I'm a part of it. And I've been with them for about 5 years. But I've come on a long road. You know what I mean? Somebody who picked up my stuff that unfortunately couldn't uh, do anything with what I gave them kind of gave me the keys to the Lamborghini. You know what I mean? And so they said, yeah, here's the company. So now AcidBath Productions and Star Pictures are both distributors through Allied Vaughn, and it was a long, arduous process. I mean, over 10 years, I started with a distributor that didn't work out. I'm being very polite. You know what I mean? I won't say that they, robbed me and took advantage of a 25-year-old kid, which they did. But luckily I got all my titles back and then I signed with this other distributor, but I had a little bit of street cred. So I started signing autographs as a celebrity guest at conventions all over the country. And so I would do a show in Kansas or Missouri and they would say, "Oh, your movie's selling Hastings." And I'd be like, "What the hell's Hastings?" And they're like, "That's like our Walmart." And so I was a credible filmmaker because I had a physical product in stores. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you did it. You made a movie. Yeah. I mean, for me, when I made my first film, Hack Job, it got picked up by Blockbuster, and then literally 2 weeks later, Blockbuster went under. So unfortunately, I'm responsible for tanking Blockbuster. Hack Job single-handedly destroyed, you know, the video store. So, mm, yeah.
Well, did it destroy the video store, or did it get revenge for the mom and pop video stores that
It
Blockbuster stepped on?
It's true. It's true. It got, you know what I mean? It was it was an inside job all along.
So, there we go. That's perfect ending. I was in a movie. I did a lot of work for this. I worked with a guy. His name's William Long. We featured him. He was our first genre movie episode actually because he's such a good pal of mine. But he was editing a film for Wild Boar Productions. I don't even know if it still exists. It was a former pro wrestler, and he had made a couple of movies, and then he made this film that I was in called Zombie Beast of the Confederacy. Now, also a young kid, probably not even 25 yet. And despite all of the AI that you see here, I'm actually a pretty accredited graphic designer. And so this was one of the movies that I was doing graphics work for. So I designed the cover, the poster, and all that stuff. And this was my first time I got to, go to a red carpet premiere and see my work,
Awesome.
framed. And it's funny that you talked about what happened with that distributor because as soon as all of that stuff was sent out west to their distributor, they completely redid it, but stole my design concepts. And uh, it's like this was something you could buy at Walmart, and I'm in this movie, and it's like an acting gig that I show up many times. I helped with second unit directing for several weeks. I put a lot of time and effort of my life into this thing to help with this production, and you could buy it at Target and Walmart. But every time I saw that cover, it just ate at me because these guys took my design and just changed it just enough that there's nothing that I could do about it. Even if I could afford to sue them, I wouldn't have won. But it's crazy how businesses and distributors do that.
Yeah, it's part of the business. You hear stories like it all the time. You know what I mean? It's a sad thing, but it is what it is. You got to learn your lesson and learn how to protect yourself and cover your ass and move on. And then, like you said, sometimes even if you do sue them, you know what I mean? It's not worth it in the end. What do they give you? They give you $5, or they give you like a redaction. Like they're like, oh yeah, we based it off of this guy. People don't care. People don't give a shit. It's a fucking crime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I made I Spill Your Guts. So, like, little injustices that obviously a normal person wouldn't go around killing people over, the American executioner does. And so that's why I made those films. It's a vehicle to express as an artist how I feel about injustice. You know what I mean? And so people commit small injustices every day, and what are you going to do? You're going to sue them all? You're going to fight them all? Then you got to go to jail. This way you can
Yeah.
watch a movie and get a little bit of revenge, and eat a snack while you do it instead of go to jail.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point. Fair enough. I get tangled up in online beefs pretty frequently just out of boredom. So,
Mhm.
I needed to hear that tonight.
It's not going to
Thank you.
change anything, but
No, not at all. Um,
Yeah, it's good to
what,
have a visual escape sometimes. And that's what filmmaking is. It's escapism. You know what I mean? We're all living these crazy lives, and like poor Doug, you never know when you're gonna go, and so you just gotta enjoy it. You know what I mean? And don't take everything so seriously. Like what the fuck? What the
yeah,
fuck?
exactly. Um, Something that I'm always intrigued when I speak to filmmakers about, and I'm never really good at articulating it. So if the question is stupid, I apologize. But so you have a concept for a film, you've scripted it, and now you need funding, and eventually filming, distribution, all of the steps that follow. What do you do from script to screen to make that happen, so to speak? Harkening back to the Troma conversation and make your own damn movie, Lloyd Kaufman said that he would just call doctors and dentists all the time. But I don't really think that's like a viable way to have people invest in your stuff anymore. So, for instance, somebody like JC and myself, lowly podcasters who are trying to make a movie, like what are those crucial steps between script and screen that we're overlooking right now?
Are you asking on how to get funding, or you're asking on how to make a movie?
Well, from a funding standpoint, just because the way Lloyd Kaufman worded it in that book, I've always just been really curious how like indie guys and people who are on the lower budget side, not studio filmmakers, I guess before crowdfunding. That book is like 20 years old, if not older at this point. But like you finish your script and now you need to fund it to start shooting. So like who are you calling? What's the process?
So for me personally, I took my own money that I had made from being a manager at a fake modeling company that ended up getting sued by the FBI. That's a whole other crazy story. So I was making crazy money getting leads for this fake modeling company, and I took that money and I put it into my first movie, Hack Job. And then that got picked up by a distributor, and then I started getting checks, and then I started making another movie. And so I took my own money, put it into a movie, and then that started making money. So now, down the line, that I have been credited as a celebrity guest at conventions and people see me as somebody that's done it, people have come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to be in a movie. How do I do that?" And I say, "You put in half the budget, I put in the other half, and I have distribution." And so it'll come out in Walmart, Best Buy, and it'll come out on Amazon and Apple TV and streaming. And so that is something that I do sometimes. So I work with some people now that put in half the budget. It's also, if anybody's listening that wants to make a movie with me, it's something that you can do. Go to jamesbalsamo.com and hit me up if you want to make your own damn movie. And that is a way that I do it. I also take a lot of my own money still that I get from my distributor when I get a check, and I pay for celebrity cameos, and I pay for a makeup artist, and I put my own money into it. So if you are looking for funding, yeah, you could do crowdfunding. It's something I've never really done successfully. I've more made money from people knowing who I am, knowing that I have 287 film products, knowing that I can make a film and get it into Walmart and Best Buy, and they say, "Hey, I would like to work with you. I know the kinds of movies you make. You get naked ladies, you get celebrities, you get pro wrestlers, you get porn stars. That sounds fun. I want to have fun. I got some money. Let's make a movie." So for me, that's how I do it. People come to me. I'm a believer in show the world, don't tell the world, But I tell people if you want to make your own damn movie, you don't need a lot of damn money. You can just pick up a camera, get your friends, make something fun, make something silly, and then start showing it to people. Because you know what I mean, came out in a time of digital filmmakers. Like I Spill Your Guts 1 was filmed on a DSLR camera. And that was at a time where people were like, "You're making a movie on a photo camera?" And then it was like, "Yeah, look at it." You know what I mean? People didn't understand
Yeah.
it. Now it's a big standard in the industry. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you never know. You never know. It's about showing people. But for me personally, if you want to make money and get people interested, hire great. You're a poster artist, so you don't need to hire anybody. Make a cool poster. Because honestly, I tell people when they ask me what sells your product, it's your poster and who's in the movie. You know what I mean? If I've learned anything, like don't judge a book by its cover, you judge a movie by its cover. If you say, "Hey, that looks like a cool movie," people are going to spend $14.99 on it either way. Even if the movie is a flop and they don't like it, it's still a cool poster.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first experience anybody has. The poster, the cover art. I actually get annoyed with all of the cover art and I guess the thumbnails. I guess is what we'd refer to for Netflix. And I feel like they've all become so dull and uninteresting to look at. And then when they finally hit something that is eye catching, the next time you see that same title, it's gone and it changes to back to dull. So that's something that I think, as far as streaming goes, I don't love streaming, but Tubi is the place that I really enjoy
Yeah.
supporting because they tend to have a lot of the original or the new arts that that artists are working on when they're commissioned through the boutique labels and stuff.
Check out my movie on Tubi called Alien Danger 2. It's got Rob Halford from Judas Priest in it, and it also
Oh,
has John Landis in the movie, and it also has I'm sorry, my brain melted. The Warlord and the Barbarian are in it. So
Nice. Um, so that I guess can lead into a follow-up question that I wanted to ask you. I mean, you have like a deep catalog of unique people that you have brought into your movies. Is there anybody that you haven't worked with yet that you want in one of your films?
yeah, I want Tom Araya from Slayer. So I got Gary Holt from Slayer, who's actually in From Dusk Till Dawn, and Randy Blythe from Lamb of God's in that too. But Tom Araya is on my list. So if you know him, you know a lead, let me know. If you're listening, you know somebody that knows Tom Araya, that's who I want.
Interesting. Was he on the Kerry King solo project that
I
just?
don't know if he was. I don't think
I
he
know.
was.
No.
I can't remember. Somebody from Slayer was playing on that album and touring, but I honestly can't remember off the top of my head.
I'm pretty
only
sure
heard
the
it
two of them have heat with each other.
Well, didn't they just
Yeah.
start Slayer back up? Isn't Slayer back?
Yeah, that's they. I think it was just like 4 or 5 dates. They It's been talked about quite a bit on Trunk Nation. I don't know if anybody else listens to that religiously like I do, but 3 to 5 every day I listen to Eddie Trunk, and that was a topic not too long ago. But you're right, JC. I'm pretty sure that's like the one dude in Slayer that isn't a participant in the Kerry King solo album that just came out.
Yeah, I know there's something going on there, and I'm not going to get into it because I'm not an expert on the heat, but
But yeah, all right, sweet. Maybe I'll tag him. I'll share it on Twitter. He probably gets tired of me bringing this up, but Mark Bouchard from American Movie, he was like one of the first filmmakers that I reached out to just to do it. And so, on Twitter, I still, am notified that he likes and shares our show every time I put one up. So I don't know if he is still listening or if he's just supportive or not, but I hate to name drop him in case he is listening, but that's one that was like the first time with this podcast where I was like, man, that's really cool that's happening. So,
Yeah.
hey, like I have industry folks that are paying attention, so maybe we'll get them for you.
We'll get him. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, beyond that, can you let everybody know where to find your stuff? Obviously, we have your website there, but we're kind of a bigger platform on audio still because I was stupid and decided to focus on that instead of YouTube from the start. So for our audio listeners, go ahead and tell them where they can find your stuff.
Sure. Go to jamesbalsamo.com or Twitter at AcidBath Product or Instagram at James Balsamo. Also, you can follow my other companies on Instagram at AcidBath Productions or at Star Pictures. Also, sing a little ditty to yourself if you're listening. All right.
All right. Thank you. This was awesome. I wish we had more time. We usually like to keep it at about an hour. My general thought is like if we hit it off with people, I'd rather get another episode than talk for like an hour and a half and then lose ourselves in monotony at some point. So I don't know. Hopefully you enjoyed your time here. Maybe we could do this again sometime in the future.
Totally. Thanks, guys. It was fun.
absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, for sure. Everybody, check out the links. This was a fun conversation, and I think you would be doing yourself a disservice not to seek out the films that you can purchase from him, and check them out streaming. You had mentioned Tubi as well. We support physical media, we support art, we support filmmakers here. So, show James Balsamo some love and appreciation for coming on with us. You are free to go if you'd like. I'm going to hit our outro here. So everybody who listens kind of knows the drill. I have to drone on until I find it. And so I did. All right. So thank you for joining us. And I look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
The preceding program
Thank you.
has been brought to you by the Watchers Podcast Network. If you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends to help grow our network. Check us out on all social media platforms, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, thanks for your support.